Then another thing is, the last time, bro, there was a protest here in San Diego. I decided to put my pastoral collar on, and I went.
Was that 3 or 4 years ago?
About 3 or 4 years ago, I put my pastoral collar on, and I went, and it was out east in El Cajon, and this thing was like just beginning to like heat up, right? So I stood outside of it and I just said, pray. And pretty soon something really interesting happened. Someone in the circle said, "Hey, can you give the megaphone to the reverend over there?" So they take the megaphone and they pass it on to me. So I was like, okay, because I'm praying. Okay, Q, what message do you have? So I stepped into the middle of the room and I started to speak to them. And I say, God is with people that are brokenhearted. So I understand your brokenheartedness right now. And while you're in this state, the God that I serve is with you and He stands with you. And then I started to, right when we got to that moment, and I started to speak to violence. And I said, here's a danger with violence. And here's what something really interesting happened. Because as soon as I got done speaking, you could feel the environment, the whole thing went still out there, still expressive, but the place had taken on a different shape. So then the reporter who was standing there said, "Wait a minute, what just happened? Can I talk to you for a minute?" And so she puts me on like live news, I think live news at 5, I can't remember the broadcast. I couldn't care less about what was happening there. I cared more about what God was doing and what He was actually speaking into the moment. And she said, the moment you showed up and you started to pray, because then there were other people that joined me in the time of prayer. The moment that began to happen here, the environment completely changed. What do you think that was? And my response was, worshipers change spaces.
Change your shape.
Worshippers change spaces. Shape spaces, shift spaces,
yeah.
But worshippers change spaces. So what does a prophetic imagination and a prophetic witness look like if you are in law enforcement? Remember, worshippers shift spaces.
That's a good one.
What does a prophetic witness look like in the midst of people that are angry and protesting? Remember, worshippers shift spaces.
Yeah.
Right? So hold that. Like I said, you still have got to go to prayer. You still have got to understand that this is God's poem.
Yeah.
In that He's made we are in an unprecedented time right now in the history of humanity and in the history of the United States in particular. I don't remember too many other times where 100,000 people died in a space of 2.5 months, 3 months, or whatever, however you want to count that, where also the cities around the United States were on fire.
Yeah.
So when things like that happen, you gotta speak, and you should say something. But make sure that the thing you're saying is not coming from the passion of your own spirit.
Yeah.
The words might sound like they're the same, but when the Spirit of the Lord is saying, and the Spirit of the Lord and the peace of God is turbulent. So don't think that the peace of God is like, the peace of God is turbulent.
Right.
But seek the peace of God, the turbulent peace of God.